King from Trinidad Media and online publications. I read across a global spectrum. Our goals are to bring to the public news and information that is educational, informative, motivation, and entertaining in a non-biased and a well-researched manner. We further wish to inspire and fight for the rights of the women and children in society. So, sir, please, can we meet you?
Today I'm Dr. Sebastian Peterson. I'm a national researcher at a national parliament, the South African National Parliament, and I work for an organization called the African Christian Democratic Party, a party that believes in Christian values and standing mostly for the Christian population in South Africa. I was born in Cape Town, on the Cape Flats of Manenberg. I had my schooling in Manenberg, and all my life I've always lived that side until, well, not all my life, but most of my life I've lived in the Cape Flats, and after that I've moved down to Manenberg, and now residing in the northern suburbs. I've studied a few things, from music to teaching to theology, and I've also did my doctorate in social science, and now it was just nominated to do another doctorate at the University in Florida.
That's nice. Thank you. So, how did you become a politician?
I became a politician in 1985. At a very young age, I was an activist those days, and I've been a member of the ANC. Obviously trying to fight for the freedom and the rights of every South African as a young boy, and always been active in politics, even through my years of studying. I always believe that as a South African, I need to make a difference for people of South Africa, and even to change South Africa to the point where we can be a motivation and also maybe help for Africa.
So, before joining politics, what else were you doing?
Before I joined politics, before I started first music, I did a diploma in music, and then I went to do teaching. I was teaching for about 6 months at the primary school that I was at, and then decided that teaching wasn't for me because I needed to do something more broader. Then I went to study business management and also finance at Manenberg College. And at that, I went to work for a company called Metropolitan. And there I worked until I went into politics in 2005.
Okay, that's nice. So what else would you be doing if you were in politics today?
If I wasn't in politics, that's actually a very tricky question. But if I wasn't in politics today, I think I would have probably been still in business because I was also a businessman with my dad. He's still running the business, but I'll probably have been a businessman. And yeah, that's probably what I would have done.
Okay. So what are some of the challenges that you face as a politician in Cape Town and in South Africa as a whole?
I think the challenges that we're facing, or I face as a politician, is the mindset of many people, especially the people, if I can put it in my pigmented or my color of my skin, is that we are still enslaved by the way we think and the way we see ourselves. I believe that is one thing that I'm trying to take away from the mindsets of our people. The reason why our people is still so enslaved in the Cape Flats and especially in Cape Town is because they have been enslaved by the minority, which was the apartheid minority whites, to tell them that you are colored. And that is the word and a term that I actually want to remove one day if I can get it right.
I wish you would look in that. Hoping you'll be able to do it someday.
Sure.
So what is your position regarding human rights in Western Cape?
To women rights in the Western Cape?
Yes.
I still believe there's a lot to be done in the Western Cape, especially for our women. Because of our cultural background, women are still being seen as second citizens. My personal view is that I believe that women are equal to us and we have the same rights in everything. The problem that we find is that many of our people, because of our tradition and our religious stance, we've been told that women are lower than men. And I don't think that, as a minister myself, I don't think that God would have ever made a mistake to make a woman lower than us.
Yeah, definitely not. So, what's your position regarding the Western Cape child? What do you think?
The Western Cape, the children in the Western Cape, that's a big cry for me, because you know the problem that we see in the Western Cape at the moment. First of all, education has become a thing that is vague in our communities.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm saying that is because about 15,000 children start off school in maybe one particular year.
Okay.
And then when you find them getting to matric, then it's only probably about 8,000 of their children, or maybe less, that actually complete school.
Right.
So my concern is, where do the children go to? And I think it's the mentality also, once again, that has been placed upon us, that that we are second citizenship people of South Africa.
Yes, sir.
And my fight is to see every child, when you start off with grade 1, he has to complete it up until grade 5, and also maybe go on to study further, because matric is only a certificate to say that you've completed your schooling years.
Yeah,
there is also university, and even a bachelor's degree these days, it's also minimal.
Yes,
and I want to see that our children really concentrate more on becoming great learners, and basically take their lives and really do something with it.
Okay, all right. So, what, in your opinion, should the government of the Western Cape do differently to improve the rights of women and children in the province?
Can I give my personal opinion?
Yeah, sure.
The government of the Western Cape at the moment won't actually do anything for our children, especially when it comes to our black children in the Western Cape. I think that the government needs to change, first of all, in the Western Cape.
Right.
And if that happens, then what our government needs to do is to concentrate more on education, and not what the government of the Western Cape is currently doing, trying to close schools and trying to make it very difficult for our children to actually attend a school close to them. At the moment, I know a few of our children that has to travel about 20 kilometers to attend a school outside of the community, which for a normal child with a mother that earns maybe 500 rand a week, it's very difficult to maintain.
Yeah, it
so I would maybe support the idea that government would, first of all, try to maybe do schools more closely to home, and secondly also maybe try to do homeschooling, especially for our children. For the women, I think that we still need to do a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot
even though the current government, they're talking a lot about woman power, and they portray in the Western Cape that woman is in power.
Yes.
You're looking at the current government setup; it's only men there, and the premier of this province said it herself that we don't have capable women to run cabinets. So why is it that in the Western Cape that women can't run cabinets, and yet in our government we've nearly got 50% of women that is ministers, and also chairpersons. In the committees that I am sitting in, most of our chairs are women, and so I don't know why in our current government in the Western Cape province, why are we not empowering our women to really become women of power and women of greatness? So there's still a lot to be doing.
Yeah, hope we get there someday.
We have to.
So, what, in your opinion, should the government also do to help the farm workers in the Western Cape?
That issue is an issue that has been fought for years.
Okay.
I think one of the things I don't talk about nationalization, but one of the things that I think that we need to do is to really look at farm workers that has worked for many years on farms.
Okay.
And really start making them part of the farm by giving them shares, making them partners of that business, so that you see a farm worker cannot be, you can't take him out of the farm.
No.
You can't bring him to the city and say, get a job here, because his life is about farming.
He's grown to that environment.
And he knows everything about farming. So my dream for the farmers, and hopefully the government would maybe speak to the farmers and say, listen, give these guys a percentage of the farm so that they also own part of it. And the only way they will grow, and the only way the economy even will grow also, if these guys start investing in themselves. Because at the moment, they're not investing in themselves, they are just a plain, simple farm worker.
Just
that's going to die one day, and that's it.
Okay. Right, so what in your opinion also should the government do to ensure that black businesses have access to government contracts?
Especially in the Western Cape, that is still a big problem, because the white majority, or minority, the white minority is still in power of the big businesses.
Okay.
And because of this collusion with only mostly white companies coming together and doing deals under the radar and doing deals there and here, it's very difficult for a black man to actually come up in that business sector, if I can put it in that way. So what I think what government needs to do, especially in the Western Cape, is to really stop these white companies of doing what they are doing, and tell them, listen here, you guys either follow the trend. What we want to do is to bring up the black communities and say, listen here, the small SMEs to support them and help them to become also successful, to grow up. If that's not going to happen, our black businesses will always be down there, and they will always just live in the minimum. And the other thing is also that people tend to think about black businesses is that if they see a black man, they say, no, he must be crooked.
Yeah, it's true.
They look at him and say, no, where did this man maybe steal the money? But they don't know that this man has maybe actually worked all his life to become where he is. We will rather take our businesses to a white company because we feel more comfortable than to a black company, and that needs to change also.
Okay. So what in your own word do you think it's the definition of happiness? Then what do you define happiness to be?
For me, happiness is to get out of my house, walk down the street, and not be mugged.
Okay.
Happiness is, for me, is the fact that I can get in a public transport, drive from where I stay to Cape Town and feel free to get out there, get in a taxi again maybe at 1 o'clock in the morning and drive back without my life being in danger. Happiness is to see the fact that my child can actually go to a school or a place and not be classified by race, color, religion, or anything like that. That is what, for me, happiness is. Happiness is not about having a lot of money, because you can have the millions but still live unhappy. A statement that one of the ANC's stalwarts made, Wedi Mantasa, he says that why do you want to live as a minority if you are in the majority? And that is a mindset that we have to get in. And if we start thinking like that, I think we will start be happy and always smile.
That's nice to know. So, what were your dreams as a child? When you were growing up, what were you dreaming? What were you aspiring to be?
As a child, I always said that I will always become one day the president of South Africa.
Okay, I wish you luck on that.
I was 6 years old, and then my teacher asked me, what do you want to become? I said, I want to become the president from South Africa. And then, because that time we still spoke in Afrikaans, we were taught in Afrikaans. So that was my inspiration. But as I grew up, I always wanted to become a businessman. I was 21 years old, and I started my first business with 55 cents.
Wow.
And people think I'm joking. So that was always my dream, is to be the president of South Africa and also have a business. I've achieved the one. I became a businessman.
Okay.
And so I have to achieve the other one.
So you're still trying to achieve the other one. We're looking forward to that someday.
Still, so you hopefully talking to the president,
yeah,
the future president of South Africa.
Ah, lucky me. Okay, sir. So what can you name a person who has a tremendous impact on your life or in your chosen field?
A person that has really had a great impact in my life is my grandfather. Okay. The good part, he looks like Mandela also. But he had a great impact in my life. My grandfather was a hard worker. He raised us up as children to always, because I did not grow up with my mother and my father, he always raised me to be successful in anything I do. Whatever I tackle in life, I need to do it with everything. So my grandfather was my greatest inspiration in life.
Okay. So what are the most important decisions you have ever made as a leader of the Western Cape Research at the National Parliament?
In what manner do you mean?
As in the decisions, maybe the hardest, as a decision you feel they were so important after making them and you felt, wow, I did this and I'm happy I did that.
I think in government it's always a corporate decision of political members that does that. But I think one of the things that we, the decision that we have tried to make is really, we've worked together with other political guys to the secrecy bill, to really to get it out there and say, listen, we are not happy with it, and that was a decision that was like wow, and we're still fighting for it, and we hopefully, because obviously the bill will be passed, but what we have put in there and the contribution of all of us as members and society has made a difference in opening a little bit of door where we can still point out things that is not right, especially in corruption in government.
Okay, it's more of a collective decision.
A collective decision.
Okay. So how do you encourage creative thinking with ACDB in the Western Cape?
Creative thinking with, I think what we need to do in the Western Cape as the ACDP is really, first of all, put ourselves out there and think out of the box.
All right.
And because what is happening is because we have been fighting a constituency of just Christian-based people. But we actually have to put ourselves out there and say, listen here, as the ACDP, we stand for every South African, whether you are Muslim, Indian, doesn't matter who you are. Okay. And that is the creative way we have to think in society. Okay,
all right, sir. So which is more important to you? Is it mission? Is it core value, vision, or service delivery? Or could it be more like all of the above also?
I think everything is mission, vision, and service delivery is, I think that is, service delivery for me is the most important. Okay. I think lip service is something that many of us do. We talk with our mouths, but we don't do it with our hands. And even if you have a vision and you have a mission, but you don't have the actual work, then all of the above is nullified. So I think with everything that we do, we mustn't do it with lip service, but we have to do it with action also.
Oh, okay. We have to show what we really want to do.
That's right.
All right. So what is the one thing you think the young South African child can take from you as a child who is aspiring to be successful in his or her choosing career? What is the one thing you think they can pick from your life?
I think one of the most important thing that a child can take from my life. I grew up in a community called Manenberg, around gangsterism, drugs, and everything. I've decided to go beyond that and went to study. I wasn't the brightest kid at school. In fact, I was in primary school when most of the teachers told me that I'm a backward child. I couldn't read, I couldn't speak well. And when I went to high school, the first thing that the teacher told me is that you need to go and become a gangster because that's all you are worth. I've proved them wrong. I've worked hard. I've studied hard. I've studied 12 years of my life after school. And not to show anyone or prove to anyone who I am, but it's because that I know my worth is who I am by myself. And So any child that wants to achieve greatness in life is work hard, study hard, and prove to yourself that you can do it. Because I believe that God has not created a man to be a non-achiever. He created everyone to be great achievers. Because when you are created in His image, you are created in His greatness.
Yes, we are.
And so, for me, as a man that for my 40 years of my life, I've always believed in studying, and studying. And the second thing is reading as much as you can. The only way you can expand your knowledge base is when you read and read a lot. I always say this: you can drive a 500,000 rand BMW, but if you go in someone's house and has a bookshelf with 20 rands worth of knowledge, then that's nothing. That means nothing, because that man has not inspired anyone to become great in life. The only thing he's inspired someone is to show off what he has in the tangible things, and it's not always the tangible things that take you to greatness. It's actually the knowledge and the wisdom that you have that will take you to greatness.
Yeah, that's true. So what is the one mistake you have ever witnessed in maybe the Western Cape, South Africa, that you think you want to correct someday?
I think one of the mistakes that we have in the Western Cape especially is that is the education system. That is one thing that we need to correct. The way our children has been raised in our education system is wrong. The way we're doing our OBEs and stuff is wrong, because you will never ever achieve a thinking habit if what we have done through now with the OBEs, if we have that system and now. So and with other friends of mine, we are working hard to really trying to do justice in that department, especially in the education department.
Okay. Right. So what, in your opinion, should a young South African do in order to have a better chance of succeeding in the future?
I think if a child wants to succeed in life, find a mentor. Find someone that you, especially if you get a little bit of knowledge, find someone that can teach you, train you, that you can work with. One of the things, in the culture where I come from, as a black South African, because I believe I'm a black South African, is that my grandfather, he took us under his wings, and he trained us to become successful in life. My grandfather was a businessman. He was a great thinker, and he was always someone that always looks positive in life. And so for every child, any child, I will say, find for yourself a great mentor. In South Africa, we don't have that. We have people that say they're mentors, but they're not. A mentor is someone that knows every little detail of your life, where you come from, what you do, what you eat, and you know that child, you will take that child up to a level where you know that you can leave them. In the Jewish communities, even in the Muslim communities, a child has to go look for someone that can teach them, a rabbi, if they can put it in that way. And that child will say, I want you to teach me. And it's the rabbis or the teachers' prerogative to say, yes, I'm going to take you on and stuff. And so in the community where we come from as blacks, we need to say, listen here, I want a mentor. I want someone to say, I want you to teach me or to train me. I've got 4 guys that I'm busy training now at the moment. And I believe one day when they, my age, I'm not a very old guy, but if they're my age, they would have achieved 3 times what I've achieved in life. Why? Because with the age they're at now, they've already experienced what I'm experiencing now. So when they come my age, they will exceed it in whatever I've been achieving in my life.
Yeah, because they have gotten a better chance than you did.
There we go, and that's very important. And so that is the thing that a child, if he wants to achieve greatness one day, and also once again, education is very important. And I will encourage anyone that is listening to me is to really look at the society and look at people that you can train and take them further. And always, you can't, it's like a mother eagle that pushes the child out of the nest. If the child can't fly yet, she comes underneath the child and she lifts him up.
Right.
And that's what we must become for our younger generation, is to come underneath them, lift them up, and build a greater society.
Yeah, give them a little help they need to be there.
There we go.
Okay, sir. So sorry to ask you this. Are you married?
Yes, I am married. I've got a beautiful daughter
Okay.
and a wife. My daughter is my life.
Ah, lucky her.
And that's why I'm so over children and over especially women, because I believe my child in this great and beautiful South Africa, that she would grow up not being seen as, because my child looks like a white child,
Okay.
but she is black.
Yeah,
And she has to grow up knowing that she is free and she has a fair chance in South Africa.
yeah.
And not only because of the color of the skin, but because of who she is. Because the only way she can be raised up in South Africa as a great woman is when she knows that she knows who she is and where she comes from.
Yes. So that's very important. So how do you balance your work and your family?
That has been a challenge for a politician for many years, or for any politician. But what I've done recently, I think a year ago, I started planning my life. For any successful person who wants to make a success in life, you have to plan, manage your life.
Okay.
And what I've done, I've now managed my life where I only work from a Monday to a Friday, from 6 in the morning
Okay.
until 7:30, 8 o'clock at night.
Okay.
8 o'clock at night, my telephone goes off.
Okay.
Then I spend time with my wife. And I always make time for my child. So 7:30, reason why is because my child comes in my office and she starts playing with me.
Okay.
And then we spend time. At 8:30, my child must go sleep. And then I would spend some time with my wife, and then, yeah.
Oh, thank you, sir. So, is there any last word for our readers? Anything you want to advise or something you want to put out there?
I think if I can, for the last words, is to really speak to the youngsters of today, especially the pigment-skinned I have,
Okay.
and to tell them that, listen here, your future lays in who you are.
Yeah, not skin.
Not in your skin, not in your difficult, where you come from and stuff like that. I come from the Cape Flats. I come from Manenberg, and I've grown up knowing that I am African. Yeah. I always tell people I'm African. I aspired always to live the African dream.
Okay.
And the African dream is to see South Africa being free and fair. I had the opportunity to see this in my time, because as a youngster, I was beaten, I was put in jail, I've been detained as a young politician.
Okay.
And so for any child now, you got the freedom, you got everything you want, so go for it. Don't ever allow anyone to tell you that you're nothing, you're nobody.
Yeah.
Go and study. Even if you get a C or a D, you can do better than that.
Yeah.
And when you do better than that, you will see, when I went to university, I had to write a test to see if I can actually write in English.
Okay.
I was one of the worst English-speaking people you could ever have. That's why you still hear me, I can't speak proper English. But you know, when I started writing and started reading,
Okay.
I became a little better, and I became better.
Yeah.
And my final year of university, I actually got a B for English.
That's nice.
So it's not, it's your determination.
Yeah, your
it's your
zeal,
hard work, and
what
your
you want
zeal,
to do.
your willingness to achieve more. So every child, every black person in South Africa, don't ever allow people to tell you that you're nothing.
Yeah, we are always something, except we are not.
We're always something. Let me place it in this. I'm a child of God. I'm a born-again Christian. Okay. I'm a pastor of a congregation. I'm the senior pastor of the church.
Okay.
I'm a politician, and I'm a great musician that has traveled the world, and that's because I did not look of where I came from, but I made it for myself.
Yeah, you made up your mind and then you go through.
There we go.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much.
Glad to have you today on our interview.
Thank you so much.